Okay, Shalom. This is Robert Moff with the Nebraska campus, GMS Quickening Spirit. First off, I want to give all praise to Yahweh Shemi Shai, double honor to our apostles / elders, which are GMS, and blessings and salutations to you brothers and you sisters out there enduring this truth and sincerity. And also blessings to you brothers out there enduring this work in sincerity. With that being said, I want to go into a topic. It's old, but it's definitely still relevant because you have Jake out here with that go along to get along spirit and thinking racism is old, and they don't believe that when America's economic structure, and by economics I mean the system itself as far as the laws, the jobs and things like that, when that crumbles, they believe everybody's gonna come together and do all this because that's what Esau tells them, and we're here to tell you that's that bullshit, and prove it through the scriptures. So I'm gonna go. I'm not gonna pull it up. Let's see here. See if I could. I'll just pull it up. Pull up a couple verses. Okay. Alright, try to make this brief as possible. First off, before I get these precepts, I'm going to get this in Revelations 18:6. It says, reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works, and the cup which she hath filled to her double. Okay. For one, we know the prophecies should be wars and rumors of wars. Okay. So let's see if we can get that. Okay, Mark 13:7. It says, and when ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, ye shall not be troubled, for such things must needs be, but the end shall not be yet. Okay. And another part of the wars and rumors of wars is what? Nation upon nation, kingdom against kingdom. Okay, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. That also go against America against another country, and then you got nation against nation, as far as race against race. Okay, so that's i.e. the main race is going to be white versus black, so to speak. Okay, so with that being said, we're going to go into a couple precepts and we're going to get straight into it as far as what I wanted to bring out. So we're going to go into Amos 1:12. Okay. Amos 1:11. It says, Amos 1:11 says, thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Edom, which is the so-called white man, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother, who is Edom or Esau's brother, that's Jacob, pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually. Perpetually is non-ending, okay? And he kept his wrath forever, because there's a point in time in the ancient days that they had pursued us with the sword, going into the Babylonian kingdom. We say racist, basically racist. And it's still what it said is anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever. So the same wrath is still applying to this day. Okay. And I'm gonna get this next scripture, Isaiah the 13th chapter. And I'm trying to get this fast because I want to play this clip, and I don't want to be, too long with the whole situation as a whole, It says Isaiah 13:4, and it shall be as a chased roe. Okay, this is talking about the last days. And it shall be as a chased roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee everyone into his own land. Okay, in this situation, this clip I'm about to play is during the time of Katrina, of course, but that showed, it was a little glimpse of what's going to happen. Okay, and it's going to be the same thing, but in that time we're gonna the elect is gonna receive the spiritual power. Basically, Jake is gonna win that battle, but Jake lost in that one. Okay, along not only did they did what they did in this video clip, but you had this events in the Superdome where women were getting raped left and right. You had police turning in their badges. You had looting. You had military shooting down civilians. You had different things, okay? And that's what happened. Okay, it says, everyone that is found shall be what? Thrust through. And everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. Okay, everyone is joined unto them. You trying to, all you niggas trying to be all happy-go-lucky. We are together. We are one spirit. And when shit hits the fan, these crackers are gonna reveal their horns, man. Okay, any opportunity, and this situation was a prime opportunity, showing how they'll show their horns, man. Okay, and so I'm gonna bring out this last scripture. I'm gonna read it. Okay, in Second Ezra, the 15th chapter, the 14th verse, it says, "Woe to the world," which means woe means death and destruction, to them and to them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. Okay, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men. What means sedition is means bucking up against the government, going against the government, and invading one another. That's that looting. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, the police, the government. Okay, and you will see it in this clip also. And the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. All that happened on their end, but it's gonna be back and forth. Okay, it's gonna be back and forth, and the Most High provided that situation to show the reality of it. So, with that being said, Salakia, oh man, I lost the clip. I should have it, but we gonna roll the clip. You know, we're gonna roll the clip. And y'all by Shimmy Al Shai, double honor apostles / elders, GMS, and blessed to you brothers out there teaching this work and doing the truth and sincerity.
Sedition magazine has just published a major investigative report titled Katrina's Hidden Race War. The article examines how a group of white vigilantes in the predominantly white New Orleans neighborhood of Algiers Point shot at least 11 African-American men in the days after Hurricane Katrina. Local police have never conducted investigations into the shootings. The author of the article, A.C. Thompson, will join us in a few minutes, but first we turn to a video produced by the Nation Institute and Hidden Driver. It is narrated by A.C. Thompson and features interviews with some of the victims of the vigilante violence.
When Hurricane Katrina ripped into New Orleans, most people tried to flee. In one neighborhood, however, a band of 15 to 30 people refused to evacuate. With the police department crippled, these people amassed weapons and began patrolling the streets. Before long, bullets began to fly. Over the past 18 months, I've interviewed figures on all sides of the gunfire. The gunmen, people who were shot and survived, and witnesses to the violence. Severed from the rest of New Orleans by the river, Algiers Point is an insular, predominantly white neighborhood within the larger Algiers district, which is mostly African American. As word spread that Algiers Point was dry, desperate people fleeing flooded zip codes began headed toward the West Bank.
I never thought that I would witness what I did during Katrina. You know, not now, just fine. Not among some individuals that I classified as neighbors.
We're blocking both ends of the street. This is during Hurricane, Katrina. They're doing looting. They're looting businesses right now, and we figure they'll eventually get around to looting the houses.
Fearing an influx of outsiders, the gunmen of Algiers Point barricaded their streets. Malik Rahim is one of a handful of blacks living in Algiers Point. In the days after Katrina, he says he was threatened at gunpoint by several white neighbors.
I couldn't walk through Algiers Point.
You couldn't?
Oh, no, I could stay on my block. But if I would have turned that corner, I would have been in a firefight.
Malik's friend Reggie Bell was also confronted at gunpoint.
After they caught up with him, they told him to run. And if he would have ran, they was going to kill him. They was going to shoot him in the back. And he told him, he said, hey, man, he said, I live right here. He told him to run.
At the ferry terminal in Algiers Point, the National Guard established an evacuation zone and began busing flood victims to Houston. On September 1st, 2005, Donnell Harrington left his home and began walking toward the ferry terminal with his cousin, Marcel Alexander, and a friend, Chris Collins. To get to the evacuation zone, the trio had to walk through Algiers Point.
You know, I was talking to my cousin and our friend, and I was telling them that, yeah, we finally about to get out of here. You know, I was talking, so my cousin was on the side of me, on the right side, and I looked down at my arms and everything, and because you know some of the shots hit me in my arm, my chest, my neck, my stomach, and you know I just saw blood everywhere.
And I'm trying to pick him up, the shots again, so I fell. And Donnell trying to get up, and we all were trying. We panicking now.
And he was like hollering, like, "You okay? You all right?" And he was, you know, like I said, he was pretty hysterical, man. And when I saw the guy, when I actually recognized the guy, the shotgun, you know, and it was like he was reloading or something.
As I'm trying to pick him up, they coming towards us with the gun. It's like probably like at that time, like probably 2 or 3 of them.
And so now I'm trying to get out this guy, trying to get away from him, you know.
2 of them coming my way, and one of them coming at the nail way. But the last I saw Donnell, and I'm running, me and Chris running, and they was like, "Oh, we gonna get you, nigga."
I ran up into the corner, and they had these 2 guys in the car. They had these 2 white men in the car, an older white guy and another, you know, a younger white guy, and they had their shirts off. I can remember, you know, and they were like in a small pickup truck.
We know y'all, what y'all was doing. We saw y'all.
Marcel goes on to say the vigilantes thought he was a looter.
And, you know, I'm asking these guys, I'm like, help, you know, help me, you know what I mean? And the guys was like, I can remember him telling me, we can't help you, you know? Get out of here, you know what I'm saying? And one of the guys, one of them, I can remember one of them calling me a nigga, you know, get out of here, nigga. We can't help you. We liable to shoot you ourselves. That was the last thing I heard him say.
Eventually, Harrington got help. A black neighbor drove him to the hospital, where doctors pulled 7 lead pellets out of his neck and repaired a large hole in his jugular vein, saving him from death.
Some of the white men involved in the vigilante group have publicly bragged about taking part in the violence, but none of them has been arrested. In 2005, several of the men talked about their activities in the Danish documentary Welcome to New Orleans.
How do you protect yourself?
You have to do what you have to do. You know, if you have to shoot somebody, you have to shoot somebody. No, we had that simple. We had looters. It was great.
It was great. It was like pheasant season in South Dakota.
Right on.
If it moved, we shot it.
That's not a pheasant. We're not in South Dakota. What's wrong with this picture?
We walked the streets. We had sidearms. Yeah, you had no choice. It was that bad. Police said, just put them on the side because they knew they were doing wrong, you know. I said, just put them to the side. That's all we could do.
I am no longer a Yankee.
No.
I earned my wings.
He understands the N-word now.
I learned my wings.
Like it with all the looters and stuff.
What looters? We had 3. They left here, one without a T-shirt, and the other's full of buckshot. And we have the T-shirt to prove it.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
What happened?
We shot him. What happens in other parts of this state, I don't know about it.
We take care of our own.
We sent them back into wherever they came from and said, don't come back.
That's from the Danish documentary Welcome to New Orleans. A.C. Thompson is with us here in our Firehouse studio in New York, the award-winning journalist on the staff of ProPublica. His article, Katrina's Hidden Race War, appears in The Nation magazine. His reporting on New Orleans was directed and underwritten by the Investigative Fund of the Nation Institute. ProPublica provided additional support, as did the Center for Investigative Reporting and New American Media. We're also joined by Donnell Harrington in New Orleans. He nearly died on September 1st, 2005, after being shot by a white vigilante while he was heading to an official evacuation site at the Algiers Point ferry terminal. I wanted to ask you, Donnell Harrington, as you watch the last clip from Welcome to New Orleans, what were your thoughts? What were your feelings? Donnell, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yeah. To answer the last question, I felt pretty sad. It made me feel pretty sad. For me to even watch that particular clip, it was hard. I was heartbroken when I saw that.
And Donnell, after you were shot, what was the response of authorities to what had happened to you? Did you try to get some action by police or authorities afterward?
Actually, I did. I can remember one of the doctors saying we need to get some officers in that area, and that was the last I heard. But under my knowledge, I don't think that they ever did.
And no one ever came to interview you about what had happened from the police department?
No.
You have been investigating this, A.C. Thompson, for over a year now. Katrina's hidden race war, saying, as everyone was talking about black looters, we're talking about white vigilantes terrorizing the black community. Lay out the scope of this.
What we did over the span of 18 months is we tried to recreate the history. We tried to go back and figure out exactly what happened in basically the 2 weeks after the storm hit. And so what I did is I tracked down people like Donnell Harrington. I tracked down people who admitted to being involved in the gunfire, the vigilantes themselves. I tracked down eyewitnesses, people like Malik Rahim. And I asked everyone, what did you see? Don't tell me about what you heard about. Don't tell me about what people told you about. Tell me about what you saw, what you were involved in, what you experienced. And what I came to believe from my interviews was that at least 11 people, all of them African-American males, were shot in the Algiers Point neighborhood during about the week after the storm hit. That information was bolstered, one, by a trauma surgeon, the doctor who operated on Donnell, who said, hey, we had a whole stream of people in our emergency room who'd been shot, some of them fatally. He said at least 5 or 6 non-fatal gunshot wounds, 3 fatal gunshot wounds. And he said, look, I don't think any of these cases have been investigated. I think they went unreported. As well, we looked at the autopsy reports from that time period, and we looked at state death records. And this gave us a sense that definitely there were shootings, and it would not at all be outrageous to think that 11 people were shot during that time period.
How'd you get the records?
We had to sue Orleans Parish Coroner Frank Mignard for those records because he would not give them to us, even though Louisiana law says that he had to.